All together say 欢迎我的朋友. Good job.
We have had Chinese in Norman Public Schools for several years. This particular partnership with the Confucius Institute is called a Confucius Classroom. We wrote 6 grants last year for Cleveland, Eisenhower, Madison, Monroe, McKinley, and Roosevelt elementary schools. Each site was awarded a $10,000 startup grant, and it's going to enable us to provide cultural events for our students as well as additional instructional resources that our teachers will use with students in the classroom.
We've been very fortunate for several years now to partner with the Confucius Institute at OU. And one of the biggest reasons it's important is it allows us to have actually someone come in and expose our children to the Chinese language and the Chinese culture. And you know, in today's business world, we know that the Asian market is a big market, and as we're trying to prepare our students for their future, we realize that we really need to expose them to a very global sense of you know, the marketplace, and allow them to realize that it's not just the typical English-speaking countries or maybe the European countries that we focused on in the past, but really the global market's going to require our students to be a little more globally prepared.
They really work on basics, especially our focus really is on pre-K to first grade is really where we start with. They learn a lot of songs. Music is a wonderful tool for a learning experience. So through songs, through visuals, etc., they work on both the language and the culture because they're so entwined. So students will leave with basic vocabulary, good morning, how are you, could be food related, things you like and don't like, you know, things that are interesting to students. And what's great about it is when you start this with a younger age group, their brains function differently than ours do as adults, and so they're able to retain that information. And when I ask the Chinese teachers about how these students sound speaking Chinese, they tell me if they close their eyes, they don't even know that they're English-speaking students because they just have the ability to mimic sounds that as adults we do not have the ability to do anymore, just based upon how the brain works.
I think as like their age, the little one, they learn language very fast, and I think as in China, like their age, we start learn English. That's like when I was little, I learned English from ABC, and I think it's a very good time to learn the different language. Like my age, the adult, it's hard to learn. It's not we cannot say we cannot learn, but not very fast. But for the younger one, the pronunciation is very good, and they learn very fast. I think it's good timing for them.
Well, I think it's hugely beneficial because number one, it trains their brain to store sounds. They get a feel for how do you learn a language, which is truly by an immersion experience. You're just exposed to it like you are when you're learning your own native language. It's just from immersion and exposure. But also for these students, it's about exposure to the culture and the fact that there are many, many languages spoken in the world. We're part of a larger environment, and that will open their eyes, I think, to the world around them. So as they get older, as they begin to choose their own path in education, that they will want to make choices to study languages and study cultures and have an interest in them, you know, as they become adults, they'll be more part of the global society.